Hello and welcome to Finally Got Around To, the website that I run that covers video game news, reviews, and editorials, and maybe sometimes some not video game stuff too, but that's besides the point. Today I want to talk about some games that are in my personal backlog, or games that I've meant to play but haven't got around to yet, or maybe I've started playing but haven't really had the time to actually get into it or finish it. So if you see a game on here that you think I should definitely put at the top of the list, games that I should play next, leave a comment and let me know. If there's games you think should be on here but aren't, you could also let me know, but there's also a chance it's not on here because I played it or because I've started playing it or what have you. There is a section of my website. I'm actually on my website right now, so I have a backlog section down here that kind of some of the games that I'm trying to keep on the radar, and what my current position in the process of playing it or not playing it is. So if you can always come check this to see what is on my radar, what I'm playing, what I'm hoping to play. But why don't we jump into the first game, which is from Extremely OK Games, Celeste. I mentioned this in my previous video, which you can go check out, but this is a game that is very highly regarded among really everyone, but it's something that I just haven't actually been able to get around to yet, and it is definitely near the top of my list of games to play. I know it's not a super long game, but I'm still very curious, and I guess the other thing is I'm not always the best at these like fast-paced action. It's not really so much action, but like, when I say action, I think of like actual combat fighting and stuff, which doesn't, I mean, I don't know. Again, I haven't played like all of these games on this list that much, at least, so I don't know a ton of what to expect. But I don't see this as a game where I'm actually engaging in combat very often, but still action. It's very fast paced, and I sometimes have trouble with that, so it's definitely been intimidating, but I've heard so many good things about this that I have to put it on my backlog and at the top of my list, and I'm definitely looking forward to trying it. So I mentioned this in a previous video because I'm looking forward to Extremely OK Games' next game, which is Earthblade. Funny enough, that one actually seems to have more actual combat, so why wouldn't it be more intimidating? But yeah, this just seems like a really important game to have at least played. So that's why it's on top of my list. And it seems like it's influenced a lot of other platformers and even other non-platformers. And I think it'll be good to play this going into Earthblade. I've also played Towerfall, which was the previous game made by this developer. And I had a lot of fun with that. So might as well give this a try. So let me know if you think I should too. Moving on to the next game. This is from Runedisk or Rundisk. I want to say Runedisk, I don't know why, but it's Chants of Sennaar, which I've heard a lot of really good things about. This is from last year. I believe it was nominated for at least a Game Award. Oh, I have the sound on for this, my bad. Hopefully that doesn't get copyrighted. Hopefully I should check that for the rest of the things that I watch. But anyway, this game is, from what I understand, it's kind of translating a language like in real time. Like you're going around, you see the people talking with those symbols, and you kind of are trying to figure out puzzles by using the symbols that you see and trying to like determine what they mean and stuff like that. So it seems like a very unique style of puzzle game, and it's all about going up this ancient tower, this civilization. So yeah, I'm just very curious about how it works, how it plays, and all that stuff. There's the name of it. And I've heard a lot of really great things, so that's some of the main reasons that I'm curious to check this one out. It seems very unique, and yeah, let me know if this looks interesting to you too, because it's definitely, it definitely looks, it's a very unique game that I can't really compare to many other titles. So it might not be for everyone, but it's definitely interesting. It's caught my attention, and it's on my list. Okay, to the next one. This is from Supergiant Games, and it's not Hades. It's actually Pyre, which is one of their older games before they made the first Hades. And I've actually had I had a thought, like, maybe I should try playing all the Supergiant games and then finally play Hades, because I also haven't played Hades. Maybe I should play that too. But this one caught my eye even like before Hades blew up, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly what it is. It seems like there's some kind of contest, some kind of game going on. It's like a 3v3 in like an arena. I don't really know, but I've heard it's good. I've heard good things, and I also heard that it's a kind of a one of the few games out there these days that features a non-violent protagonist or protagonists. So I'm very curious, what is this like contest, this thing that's going on where these teams are all competing, that's also somehow non-violent. I don't know exactly what to expect, but the art style is really cool. Supergiant Games, of course, has become a very legendary indie developer, yeah, I'm pretty curious to check this out. I do think it would be really fun to do like some kind of play all the Supergiant games in order. Maybe I can try to do that leading up to Hades 2 1.0 launch, since it's already in early access. I would just be curious to see like I can definitely see some Hades in this, and I'd be curious to just kind of go through the evolution of Supergiant games in a way. So maybe I should try playing either Bastion or Transistor, which are the games Supergiant made prior to this one, and kind of work my way through their catalog, which could be really fun. I don't know if that sounds like a fun idea. Let me know. I'll definitely write about it or make a video about it. So if you want to hear about that, let me know, because I'd be happy to. I'm here. It's fun for me, but I also want to create content that other people enjoy. So if that sounds great to you, let me know. Moving on to the next one, we have Hyperlight Drifter. I almost said Breaker, but no, I am really looking forward to Hyperlight Breaker. And I know that Hyperlight Drifter was a huge indie game when that came out a couple of years ago. Maybe more than a couple of years ago at this point. But I think it's probably a game that I should at least give a try. It does seem like another very fast-paced kind of action-y game, but I've heard so many good things, and leading up to Hyperlight Breaker, which I'm pretty sure is taking place in the same universe, obviously a very different style of game, but yeah, this one, just looking at it, it's a pretty beautiful game, great pixel art. Combat does look intense, but maybe I can, with all these games that look intimidating, it always just takes a little while to learn. Like, I never expected myself to be as good at combat, but then I played a lot of Breath of the Wild, and I felt like I got a lot better at that combat. So I think I need to give it a try. Play the game and learn the game, and maybe by the end I'll be doing stuff like this in the trailer. Yeah, just a really cool aesthetic. Really a big fan of this developer and what they're going to be doing going forward. They've got Hyperlight Breaker and then Possessors they announced recently. Also looks like a really cool game, so I'd like to go back to the one that maybe started it all. I don't actually know if this is the one that started it all for Heart Machine, but it's definitely seems like it's the one that put them on the map, at least. So I would be very curious to give it a try, and I think a lot of people, based on the Steam reviews, a lot of people would probably say this is worth giving a try. So yeah, that's Hyperlight Drifter. Let's go next to, this is from Thunderful and Wishfully. This is Planet of Lana, a game I believe it also came out last year. Or maybe it was the year before, but I think it's got some award nominations. Kind of a beautifully an artistic, almost, I've heard the term cinematic platformer, and so maybe that's what this is. This and Neva, another game coming from, what was their name? I can't remember the developer's name, but I talked about it in my other video, so you can check that out. But this game looks very beautiful, very cinematic. It doesn't look like, thankfully, doesn't look like it'll be like a super like fast-paced, challenging thing, maybe like puzzles and stuff. But I mean, look at this. This is a gorgeous-looking game, and I have no idea what's going on, but I'm definitely curious to learn. Oh, I have the sound on. My bad. I forgot to do that for this one. And it probably is a great trailer with sound. But for the purposes of this video, I'm not trying to do that. And I know that this trailer looks very cinematic, but I'm pretty certain from what I've seen that this basically is what the game is, like kind of moving in a 2D space, even though it doesn't look very 2D. Like, this looks very 3D. Now, is this gonna show any more more gameplay other than that? Maybe I didn't pick the best video. It's a showcase. Okay, we got a little bit of this. Yeah, I've seen other trailers, and you kind of run around with a little creature by your side most of the game, so maybe this is kind of the beginning of the game. I don't know. But this definitely is a game that's on my radar, and I'm going to be checking out. If you think I should, let me know. It seems pretty cool. Moving on, we've got from Raw Fury and the publisher Raw Fury and Studio Supersoft. This is Moonstone Island, another very beautiful pixel art style game. This is kind of almost like a creature collector but deck builder battle system. The one thing that does give me pause is this part of it, kind of like the simulation, the sim management stuff, like growing crops and like building a house and stuff like that. Like, not typically games that I'm particularly interested in, but I have a friend of mine who's recommended this pretty highly, and the like actual deck building combat, the creatures and all the different, I think there might be, maybe they're called spirits in this, I don't know off the top of my head, but they do seem pretty great, and I would be curious to check all that out. Yeah, spirits, okay. So yeah, tame spirits, and they're some of them are a little more interesting than others. Like, there's just one that's just a log with a face that we just saw, which is pretty crazy. But I'm sure it would be really fun to try out all the different spirits and see how this game plays. So this one's definitely on my backlog. I'm curious to give it a try. Hopefully the management sim part of the game doesn't slow me down too much, because that is probably my main worry. But it's a beautiful looking game, and I'm definitely curious to try it, and probably will sometime soon. So look for that. Yeah, we'll move on to the next one. Up next is a game that I've heard a lot about, and I heard a lot of high praise recommendations. TUNIC, which is from, apparently the developer is just called TUNIC Team, which is kind of funny to me. But it's also published by Finji, who have published some other great games. I mean, make me play as a fox with a sword, I'm in. But then also this world seems like it's very, from what I've heard, is very like old school Zelda. And there's like a journal. Yeah, I remember hearing about that journal that you can actually like reference it and like discover things and puzzles and like simple like top-down combat like this. Yeah, this is definitely a game that I think would work really well for me. I'm very interested in it, and I've heard lots of really great things. I've heard that some people have said basically like, if you play any game, play this game. And now that I haven't really looked into the game itself too much, and kind of actually watching this trailer, it is looking really cool. So this one's definitely high on the list for me. I've played, so I'm kind of a fake gamer in that I've played Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom when it comes to Zelda games. I've watched my brother play Twilight Princess. I've watched a friend, really long time ago, play Ocarina of Time, and then I watched some friends in college play Skyward Sword, but I really have not played that many other Zelda games myself. So I think maybe I should play those too, but you know what I've heard that this is very old school Zelda, and I think it'd be fun to kind of play the modern interpretation rather than go back to the old games. Maybe I don't know. I'm just talking here. What do you think of Tunic? Do you think I should play this? I think it seems like a knock out of the park for me personally. So yeah, I'm very curious. Yeah, that journal thing looks really cool to me. Like the art in there. Like, okay, yeah. Before I talk too much, let's move on to the next one. Only a couple more games, but next I want to talk about Sea of Stars from Sabotage Studio. Now this is one of the few games on this list that I've actually kind of started playing a little bit. I think I'm only a few hours in, but I know that this is like a 50-hour game, if not more. What really catches my eye is a good art style, and this definitely has a really great art style. But what I've heard will really draw me in is the story. Kind of these characters going out on their own for the first time. This guy, Garl, I remember hearing, so this won Best Indie at the Game Awards last year. I remember hearing that Garl was like one of the best characters in gaming of the year. Yeah, so I'm very curious to experience this game and its story. I've heard the combat can get a little repetitive, which I think I've maybe already experienced a little bit in just the first few hours. But if the rest of the game can kind of carry me through, that would be really cool. That was also, I like all these combos and stuff that's going on in the combat. It does look pretty fun. Yeah, I know it's a long one, so it's going to be a long haul, because I don't always have that much time to actually play games as much as I like to try to play games. Like, there's always going to be games that I want to play and haven't had the time yet. So trying to fit in time for a game that's potentially 50 hours or more is going to be tough, but I'm going to try it with this one. It might just take, a year or two to actually get to that point. Yeah, I love all the sprites, all the art, like that can really sell a game for me. So yeah, this one's on my list for sure, and winning a Indie of the Year award at any showcase is going to be at any award show is going to be is going to put it on my radar. So yeah, move on to the next one, which is from Acid Nerve and Devolver Digital, Death's Door. Now this is actually, I think, the other game of all of these that I have played the first hour of, and I really enjoyed the combat. I really enjoy the kind of, I forgot the music on again, my bad. The world of this game. It looks really fun, and I've heard a lot of really, really glowing reviews, so this one's definitely on my list as well. Playing as a crow, I love it. This game has some really fun, like, just in the first hour, I had a couple things that kind of deciding which kind of ways I wanted to power up the character, and I'm very curious to see how that continues throughout the rest of the game. But I know this isn't as long as like Sea of Stars, but it's definitely on the longer side of some of these games. So I know there's going to be a lot to experience, and all these different bosses and all their designs are they definitely really caught my eye. Just that image that it showed right at the end there, where the little crow protagonist is like hiding behind a block, and there's all the monsters and creatures kind of standing behind the block. Definitely on my radar. What was I going to say? Oh yes. So the actual world building of like that. So I think what the bare bones of the story is that you are a crow that is kind of sent out to go deal with problematic basically bosses. Like I don't know what exactly term they use within the game, but go out to deal with these boss battles. And the writing, at least in the first hour, I thought the writing was kind of clever and fun, and actually had some good humor to it. And I'm very curious to see what the overall arching story would become, based on the what I've experienced so far, and what I've kind of know that this is like you're part of a big bureaucracy thing, and that sounds really fun. I'm curious to see where the story goes. But okay, moving on to the last game I want to talk about today, which is Viewfinder, which is from Sad Owl Studios. This was also nominated for Best Indie last year, and it is definitely one of the most fascinating and unique like puzzle mechanics that I've ever seen in a game. Like just look at that. Like the idea that you can take a photo of anything around you and then just place it in the world is so magical. And like this is the kind of thing that, like, when I dream of video games, like this is what I want to see. And how it just works so seamlessly is amazing. I think this is a game that everyone should at least experience once. Like, just like, I don't know how this doesn't just unlock your imagination. And like I know that I'm not going to be the most creative person when I get, like, I'm not going to even think of the best things. But this is like, I am just blown away by this mechanic. I've heard that the mechanic definitely is the highlight, that this story isn't the most exciting, but I think it's worth playing. Just I imagine it's worth playing just for that, just to kind of see to see the extent to which this mechanic is brought. Yeah, so this is a big one for me. I remember seeing this last year in 2023 Summer Game Fest. It was at a booth. I didn't have an appointment or anything, but I kept finding myself stopping to look at it and just watch people play, because it was just fascinating to see. So yeah, that's my my list of backlog. That's my backlog. It's not all of my backlog. I'll definitely be making more videos exploring the other games that I have in my backlog, but these are some of the ones that are kind of burning a hole in my pocket, if you will, that are definitely near the top of the list of games that I should play and I want to play, and I definitely want to, if I can, I want to try to write reviews of these. That's kind of like the idea of a long backlog is what started this whole, finally got around to website, channel, videos, all this stuff. Games that I couldn't get around to for various reasons that I wanted to try to have an excuse to make the time for. So if you resonate with that, please subscribe and watch my videos, read my stuff on my website, finallygotaroundto.com. Check me out on other social media platforms as well. Also, if you have any recommendations, games you think should be in my backlog, leave them in the comments. Maybe I've played it, maybe I haven't, maybe I haven't even heard of it. So if you have something, I'm always open to learning about cool new games. So yeah, let me know. But that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.